there, and welcome back to the channel. Ryan Nordahl here, Epic Whitetail Habitat LLC. If you haven't already, or you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Turn on that bell notification. That way every time I upload a new video, you get that notification right away. And hey, give this video a like and a share. But today, I want to talk about poor man's food plots. I just put up my lime here, spread my fertilizer, all to the recommendation of what the soil test recommended. It's very important, no matter the size of your food plot. This here, it's very small. It's maybe 1/10 of an acre, not even, but it's still very vital that we do a soil sample. At least correct the pH. Lime is the cheapest, whether it's liquid lime or granular lime, ag lime, whatever you got. We're using barn lime. Barn lime gets a lot of negativity, but it still does the job. It's worked for us in the past. It may not work for you, it may not have worked for you, but it does work for us, for what we're doing. Maybe it's not a long-term solution, no. It probably won't carry over to the next growing season. But to get us to where we want to be this year in our fall food plot goals, it's going to help get us to where we need to be. We're using the correct amount, that being about 300 pounds to this little 1/10 of an acre food plot. Now, did we have to create this food plot? You don't have to create it. If you have a small opening in the woods, by all means, it'd be a great place, as long as you can get to that kill plot undetected. Whether you're coming in or leaving the hunt, you have to make sure that your access is bulletproof. Our access is bulletproof in here. This is going to be for a morning setup when the deer are coming off of the ag fields to the north behind the camera. We can slip in up the property line and up into the tree that we're going to be in. If you see the little red pine back here, red Norway pine, we're going to have our stand up about 10-12 feet into that tree. We can slip in. We're going to sit here all day. This is a great area, inside corner of a field. We're about 60 yards, 80 yards off the inside corner, southwest corner of the field out here, the ag field, the ag crops. It's mostly alfalfa and clover. There is some corn out there, some soybeans. The deer are headed to soybeans to the neighbors to the west, as they're bedding back here to the east on another neighbor's property. But we can capture those deer coming back off in the morning or coming back through at night during the rut. This is going to be a major cruising area as well. It has been in the past. Where the camera is at right now on this particular oak tree, there's a scrape right underneath it. We've got another big branch back here off of this big oak tree. We're going to drop a vine off of that. Bucks already are working that. But if we can put a licking branch of some sort, it's going to be a vine, down in that deer's face, more attractive that's going to be. But again, we're back here. This is an opening that already existed. We did not have to cut any trees down. There's plenty of light that gets in here for plenty amount of time during the daylight for sunlight to get down in here. Now, what are we going to plant? We're going to plant radishes. Very cheap and effective food source. It can tolerate this poorer soil a little bit. This is very sandy but yet loamy soil, so it's not the worst soil in the world. I've had it grow in beach sand, basically. Some of our soils back on our proving grounds 2 miles to the south of here, there is a lot more sand in that soil, and I tell you, daikon radish seems to work in there very well. So this is going to be daikon radish here as well. If we have a lot of bare spots, anything going forward as we approach into September, we can come back in here with a top dress of an equivalent of 100 pounds to the acre of rye. We can even do another layer of rye 2 weeks later, and just at the beginning of October, we could come back and do another layering of rye. Is that too late? No, it's not too late. Last year, a lot of cover crop went in, be it in the form of cereal rye, winter rye. A lot of it went in that mid to late October last year in 2023. So it can do the job here, but it'll fix those bare spots even if the deer browse it down really bad, the radishes early in the season. That's the big misconception about brassicas. The big misconception is that they need a frost to become palatable. That's not true. You do not need a frost for deer to be attracted to the brassicas themselves, especially the leafy green parts. Anyway, our first step again was to put the lime down. We put our fertilizer down. Now I'm going to take the hand rake. I'm going to rake this all in, get a good seed bed, loosen up the soil that's here. I could wait for rain, but it's a little bit, we're out a couple days from the next rain. I'm going to be gone here the next few days, so if it does happen to rain while I'm gone, it's going to have a good start. But covering that seed with a little bit of soil, a little bit better seed to soil contact, less likely for birds, turkeys, whatnot to come in and pick that seed off the ground when it's buried like that. I'm sure I'll get some. But the other thing that we're going to do to monitor the amount of pressure in here is we're going to put up a couple seclusion cages so we can monitor just how much browse pressure these radishes are getting. That way we know kind of our deer density. We already know we have a high density of deer out here on my brother's farm. So we just want to monitor the growth out here. We know that this is going to get hammered because it's in such a good transition area, staging area where deer are moving back and forth through here, 60, 80 yards off the inside corner of the field, like I said before. Bulletproof stand location and bulletproof access and exit out of here for the right time of year. We're going to be hunting this mainly toward the end of October. We've got a camera on it back here behind the video camera. We've got our reveal cell cam back here. We can monitor it. If we do happen to have a good buck coming through here in daylight hours, well, yeah, then sure, with the right wind, preferably with our wind blowing back out to the ag fields, we can get in here and maybe capitalize on. But definitely during that last week in October, say from the 26th of October all the way through to about the 12th, 13th, 14th of November. That's when we definitely want to be in here all day sit, getting in here and totally undetected in the morning, sitting here all day catching those cruising bucks, because we do have a hinge cut bedding area, small hinge cut bedding area back here behind the video camera as well. They're going to be through here scent checking all of this. Really pinches down in here. We've got some hinge cut along our west boundary over here, west property boundary. We've created some hinge cut there, so when the deer are over on our side of the fence, they got to waste a little bit more time over here to get out and around it. Yes, they can still go over onto the neighbors to the west, but they have to work a little bit more at it. They have to go a little further. So when they're in here, they've got to stage up in here before they can head out onto the neighbors to the west. They're free range deer. They're going to go where they want to go, but we can control their movements while they're here. And that's the main purpose of this plot back here as well. They can't just come in here, check these scrapes and move on. Now they've got a little bit of a bite to eat in here. Some does and fawns will be in here, so those bucks will really be in here scent checking, working their scrapes. There's probably 3 or 4 scrapes in here historically, so it's going to set up really well. But I'm going to get back to work and show you the next steps. So when it comes to broadcasting seed, you know, I do like my Earthway bagger, my 2750 Earthway bagger or bag seeder. I love that thing. But this thing has been a game changer just from the way of filling it. I've used another brand in the past with a strap system on it. It's on your, all the weight is on your neck. This has a nice harness system. Keeps the weight in your back, in between your shoulders, takes pressure off your neck. You know, yes, this is a battery operated version. I can one-hand operation for spinning. I can control the speed of my spinner and the amount of seed with the gate all in one hand. I'm not sitting here turning a crank, trying to adjust everything on the go. I can do it. Got the spinner on and I can go. I can adjust on the go. I'm not sitting here trying to crank at the same time either. I can keep it stabilized with one hand and work my rates with the other hand. I'm not sitting here trying to, and most spinners anyway, they're way down here. I don't like that. Yes, I do have long arms, but But this has been a game changer, basically a lifesaver. But I'm going to get the seed in here. Enough about this. You can check it out in the description below. I'll leave a link. So before I end this video, again, I want to talk about the steps and the equipment that you need for a poor man's plot. And you don't need a lot. Not every one of us can afford a tractor, a drill, a disc, you know, those kind of implements that do make life easier. But for some of these backwoods, hard to get to plots, you know, a backpack sprayer is what we used. We come in here with a little bit of glyphosate mixed up in our backpack sprayer. We killed all the vegetation in here. About 14 to 20 days later, I come back with a torch and I lit this on fire to get rid of all the thatch. Now, what I could have done, and what you hear a lot of guys doing, but it only works, for me it only works with buckwheat or some kind of, you know, beneficial vegetative crop to help build the soil and adds beneficial organic matter to the soil profile. Buckwheat, rye, those are the two main ones. Overhaul from Domain Outdoors is a great one. That's got a lot of buckwheat in it. It's got rye in it, and I do believe it has a little bit of crimson clover in it as well. Definitely a good soil builder mix from Domain Outdoors, so you want to check that out. I'll leave a description or a link in the description below for that product as well. But backpack sprayer, torch to set this on fire. You know, this is a lot of buffalo grass. There was a lot of blackberry, raspberry vines in here as well. They died off really good. They burnt up real well. Then we come back with our hand rake. Scratch this up a little bit. Get that soil worked up a little bit. Soften that soil. Loosen it up. That way, when you broadcast your seed out, you got good seed to soil contact. Even going back over with the rake again to cover that seed a little bit better, especially if the rain is a few days out. I fully am aware that, you know, you may only have the weekend to do things. You can't really get there ahead of an impending rain. You know, the best time to do it is right when there's rain in the forecast that very day. You know, a nice easy rain, not a big gully washer storm like we've seemed to have had around here, you know, this summer. Definitely an extreme change from last year where we virtually had no rain whatsoever, and a lot of food plots failed going into fall. But, you know, that rake, a good broadcaster, you know, again, like I said and alluded to earlier, my Hooyman, but cheaper alternative is definitely Earthway 2750 model bag seeder, any bag seeder that you can find really, but I prefer and recommend the Earthway 2750. I'll leave a link for that in the description below as well as the Hooyman 24 volt that I have. You definitely want to check that out, but it doesn't have to break the bank. You don't have to spend the money. By all means, if you have a chainsaw and need to open up the canopy more, please do so. You know, the more light we can get down to these plots, the better off we're going to be, because sunlight is vital. This was already a natural opening. We didn't do any chainsaw work in here whatsoever. But those were the steps that I took to get this started. You've seen me implement how I go about applying my lime, my fertilizer, and putting my seed down. Very little amount of seed. You don't need a lot. Brassicas need space to have it successful. If you want the long, girthy tubers of your daikon radishes, if you want to see the big round balls of your bulbs, I should say, of your purple top turnips, they have to have space. Now, in about 2 weeks, we'll come back in here with a little shot of urea, or Domain Outdoor came out with a new nitrogen product. I forget the name of it, but it's a liquid version. We can throw that in our backpack sprayer after we clean out our backpack sprayer. If we used any glyphosate or any type of weed killer in it, we definitely want to go back and take the time to clean out our backpack sprayer as best as we can, throw in the liquid nitrogen, and then come back here in about 2-3 weeks, give that brassica that much needed shot of nitrogen that they need. But that's what I do, and that's what I recommend for a poor man's food plot. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. It does not have to break the bank whatsoever. I gave you a list of simple items that you can definitely afford to get. I'll leave links in the description for everything that I recommend. So you want to check that out. Guys, good luck with all your habitat projects going into fall here. You know, it's fall food plot season. It's the 18th of July here. I'm getting started because I'm going to get strung out here a little bit doing client work and everything. So I want to get a jump start on this. This is my own property here that I'm highlighting in this video. So this is going to be great. Again, like I said, if it gets overpressured, we're going to know it right away. Going into August, it's still going to give us time to come back in with our layering of rye to go over the top. God bless you all. Keep living the dream, and thanks for following along. I appreciate you guys.